Hi, I'm Mimi, and I'm really excited that this is what the video contest is about because while it's really nice to see all these videos on beauty and fashion, I think when it comes down to the core, I think these issues are the most important issues, and it's something that I think about every day. Um, as far as when I talk to younger people, because I'm 24 years old now, and for me, being 16 was 8 years ago, and within that span of 8 years, so much stuff has happened to me, and I know what it was like to be 16 and to go through the issues and drama that 16-year-olds or teenagers really have. Oh my gosh, I know. And so the reason why this topic is hits so close to home for me is because I am in a sorority, and so I constantly meet younger girls. I meet younger girls that are just coming out of high school, and they have all these issues, like I don't know, like they'll come to me and their biggest things will be like um just liking a boy or something like that. They want to date this boy, and how do you tell your little sister that her boyfriend is not the best person for her? Because you know, when you're dating someone and you like them, you're so blinded if they're being disrespectful to you, if they don't treat you well, if they don't, like, if they're just not good boyfriends. Like, you you kind of, whenever you allow that to happen, it's because you're in it that you're so blind and you don't see it. And a lot of people, everyone from the outside sees it, and as much as like they would want to help you or help you get out of it, it's something that you have to do on your own. And I know it's really hard. When you feel like you love someone, you want to make it work. And I mean, that's perfectly fine. But if it's a relationship that's not going to work out, then it's not going to work out. And it's one of those things that you really just need to like learn how to cut it off and like let it go. As hard as that is, it's necessary, because you are never going to meet the right person as long as you're with the wrong person. And for the longest time for me, I always, like breaking up was like one of like the worst things, because like you felt very rejected and you felt like you're not wanted and that you're not loved, and it's like that's not the case. That it's not the case. You were always loved. Whether you feel like you're not, or you feel like no one does, you were always loved. You were loved more than you know. And that was definitely one of the things that was hard for me, to grasp onto. So I met my first love when I was 16, and his name was Ross, and I loved him a lot. Well, I guess now when I look back on it, it was like puppy love. It's always like your first love is always the hardest to forget. Like, thinking to myself that maybe it would still be able to work, and like if he still cared about me, like that I would want us to stay together. And looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, why would I ever do that? Don't you ever stay with someone that would cheat on you, because you will meet someone that is 100 times better for you, that's gonna treat you well, and that's gonna love you, and that's gonna respect you, because that's what you deserve. You can't forget about your self-worth. That is the most one of like that's just the most important thing, because it's you. You have to learn how to love yourself first before you can love someone else. Because if you don't love yourself first, then you don't know who you are, and um you don't know what you stand for. And I think that's what it all comes down to, is that you need to realize your self-worth, and you need to realize how important it is to have pride in yourself and just have integrity. And if you don't have those things, then you're constantly going to be taken advantage of. And at when you're a teenager, that's one of the easiest things to happen to you, is to be able to get taken advantage of. And you can't let that happen. never, ever, ever settle for someone that cannot appreciate you and love you, all of you, ever. Because for me, if I would have stayed with him, God knows, like, he probably would cheat on me with someone else. Or if you always get like weird feelings about your boyfriend, or like feelings like you don't trust him, or um just like your conscience, if your conscience is like telling you something, then it normally, you should listen to your conscience. And so I met someone else, and um it was it was really great. But one of the hardest things was that he happened to pass away while we were together. And it, whenever something like that happens to you at a very young age, um it just you just realize how small everything else mattered. Like, it's kind of like a wake up call um to you, because it's like, I used to care about really dumb stuff. Like, I used to care about, I wanted to date the most popular boy, or like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't afford to waste your time on issues like that, because none of that matters. All that really matters, I think the most important thing that I've learned in my whole span of 8 years is the most important thing is that you realize your self-worth, and that you always have integrity, because those are things that nobody can ever, ever, ever take away from you. And you're going to meet really crappy people. You're going to meet people that's going to drag you down, and you're going to meet people that's going to try to control you and but you can't, because those are the only things that are your own. You can't let someone do that to you. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me to realize. But as soon as I realized that, like, I am in control of my life, I am in control of my feelings, and once you allow yourself to realize that, then it becomes very different, because nobody can ever take that away from you. You need to take care of your life, because you need to take care of your life for a better tomorrow. You do. So while you're in school, don't think about wanting to fit in a certain group, or don't, like, no, just do whatever makes you happy. What makes you happy? If being in band makes you happy, then go for it. Then you can be a famous musician someday. If being in the drama club makes you happy, then go ahead, then you're going to be a certain actress one day. And if people don't like that, then they don't like it. Who cares? I think that's when you need to find people that do like it, and that do want to be around you, and have the same common interests as you, and appreciate you for who you are. Because if you can't do that, if you can't, like, do these things, or you want to change the way that you are for other people, you're never going to be happy. And there really is, like, no point of doing anything that you're just not happy and you're not passionate about. Because like exactly what I said earlier, like, what is the point in living if you can't even live your own life? Do you know what I mean? But I say that because at the end of the day, the most important thing is not it's not what kind of car that you drove, or who if your friends were the most popular, or if you belong to the most popular crowd, or the person that you thought was the love of your life. Those things are not going to matter. The only things that's going to matter at the end of the day is the relationships that you've built with people, spending the times with the people that you love and the ones that love you most, and just going to bed every night knowing that you're a good person, and do whatever you thought was right. That's the most important thing in life, because if you have those things, then you will always know who you are, and you always know what you stand for, and you will always be happy. You're not going to be happy all the time. That's normal. But you'll have control of your life, and that nobody can ever drag you down, because you won't let them. So you're 16, you're a teenager, you're young, go out there and take on the world, and don't let anyone stop you.